So that's BitLocker. Again, I'm aware this is quite a sort of fast run through of a lot of different recommendations, but the purpose of sort of this webinar is for us to say, this is what we think you should be implementing to secure your 365 and Azure AD tenant at a minimum, really, and why we think that should be the case. But we can't cover necessarily on a webinar in detail how you go about implementing those things, which is why we're going to provide you with the low-level design document afterwards, so you can see the detail of the policies that we recommend, and you can use a lot of those for your own configuration. So yeah, that's sort of the scope of the webinar, and we're going to back it up with the detail in our sort of like best practices document that you can take away and use. But the sort of last thing for me is just tell you what we can do to help you as well with this. So what we do as an organisation around this particular sort of topic that we've been discussing today is we basically provide sort of like packages around security, or cloud security really, where we'll audit your current environment, we'll analyse it against our best practices and understand your particular things you want to achieve in terms of policies, settings, all that sort of stuff, talk you through the different options to get the most out of Endpoint Manager and the additional Azure AD security settings, and then we'll produce a more specific design document that basically is something that's again a low-level design document that says this is exactly how you can achieve these things that we've discussed. These you can go off and use that document because it is low-level design to implement those policies, or we can actually provide that work for you. But ultimately the document will have, this is what you should be doing based on the goals that you've got, this is exactly the settings that you need to have in place, but it'll also provide an actionable like implementation plan of how you can go about doing that as well, and the amount of time we estimate it would take. So you can either do that yourself off the back of that, or you can actually get one of our consultants to work through that, put a project plan together with you and actually get this thing rolled out, get all your devices onboarded, get all your settings in place, and get that design implemented effectively. So there's sort of two parts that we can help with, is the design and then obviously the implementation. So yeah, that's us. I want to pass back over to Andy. Thanks for your attention.
Cheers, Tom. Yeah, just going to spend a minute or so just letting you know what to expect from us next. So fairly straightforward. The first one is LinkedIn. We do. It's a bit of a favour really that we ask at the end of our webinars. We do a lot of outreach through LinkedIn. Many people on this webinar have actually signed up through LinkedIn. So it would be really useful if you enjoyed it, if you found it useful, if you think other people would benefit from it, just to leave a positive comment and tag our LinkedIn handle into the comment at Circle Cloud Limited, just on the screen there. That would be appreciated. Next, we will follow up with an email to all attendees, and in that email there'll be two key components, one of which is the questions which I mentioned at the beginning. They do vary from webinar to webinar. If there are, you know, 2 or 3 questions, we'll respond directly. If there are quite a lot, which does happen, we'll bundle them up and we'll send them all out on a 1-page document with the answers. Yeah, so we'll send that through, and also what we'll send through, which is what Tom has just mentioned. It is the best practices document, which obviously, like I say, form the structure for this webinar. We'll send that through, so you've got that to use and reference alongside the webinar recording, which we'll give you a link to. And finally, in this kind of follow-up email, we'll give you more information on our fixed cost implementation offerings, which was the slide that Tom covered last, which is how we can actually help you build a more bespoke design using the best practices that we've got in those documents. So yeah, just to recap, questions, information on how we can help you build the implementation plan, and also the best practices document for you to use and hopefully get, you know, improve your security very quickly. So yeah, hope you found it useful. What I'd like to do is just I'll pop our mic on mute and we'll leave it open for 10 minutes or so, which would take, we'll leave it open until 10 to, just so you can give you a little bit of time to have a think about what you've seen, pop any questions in. And yeah, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully see you on another webinar. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for your time.